What if your negative thoughts keep coming back, even if you're doing your affirmations every day, multiple times throughout the day even? Does it mean you are screwed when it comes to manifesting your desires? Does it mean you are doing something wrong? Every time you notice those negative thoughts, are you messing up your manifestation? Are you holding it beyond your reach? Here's a quick overview before we get into each of these things. A quick overview. Please be sure to watch the entire video for the details and for context. 1. Your negative thoughts coming back is natural and normal, and they serve a very useful purpose. 2. Your manifestation is complete in the moment of conception, so there is no possibility of screwing it up unless you choose to see it as being screwed up. 3. Thinking that you are doing something wrong does not mean that you are doing something wrong. All it means is that you are thinking that you are doing something wrong. And therefore, 4. Noticing your negative thoughts, noticing that you are thinking them, in other words, is your key to freedom. Noticing your negative thoughts always brings you closer into alignment with your desired reality. It doesn't mess up your manifestation or hold it beyond your reach unless you choose to see it that way. Okay, that's the super condensed version. And here's the more detailed breakdown of each of those answers. 1. Your negative thoughts coming back over and over again is natural and normal. Think of all thoughts, positive or negative, as being like advertisements or invitations. Just because you are offered something doesn't mean you have to take it, right? Just because you are invited to an event doesn't mean you have to accept. You don't have to go if you don't feel like it. There's a lady at the fresh market I go to who always offers me grapes every single time. She's pretty loud and persistent about how wonderful and fresh and delicious they are. She slashes the price just to get people's attention too. I've seen some of the shoppers get annoyed with her and shouting back at her, "Hey lady, no means no, even at a killer bargain. They just don't want those grapes." I heard one lady say, "I don't want them. I wouldn't take them even if you gave them to me for free." Negative thoughts are just like those unwanted grapes, and having a desire that you want to manifest is like having your own shopping list, your list of things that you do want. There's a ton of stuff at the market, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing. The stuff that's not on your shopping list, you just treat them as stuff that isn't for you, as stuff that's for other people maybe, but not for you, at least not right now. It's just another option, one that you're not interested in right now. You don't run to the manager and insist that the market stop supplying those grapes, do you? It's unnecessary. Same with those negative thoughts you keep having. You don't have to get annoyed and yell at yourself the way those shoppers yelled at the fruit vendor. You just let those grapes be there. Let them be available for people who do want them, and go on your way because you happen to be someone who knows exactly what you do want. Or think of those negative thoughts that keep coming up as being like YouTube throwing video recommendations at you. It's just the universe presenting you with options, recommendations, suggestions to see what you like. Do you like this? The algorithm asks. And since you're not interested, you don't click on it. And the algorithm goes, no, how about this then? Or this. If you don't like what is being recommended, you just choose not to watch it. You watch something else, and the algorithm brings you more and more of things that are similar to the things you have clicked on into your recommended feed. Have you noticed? Or you lose interest in YouTube altogether for the time being and just unplug, go offline and go do something else like take a nap or pet your dog or whatever. Negativity is not something for you to solve or for you to get rid of. It is something that is just there. It just exists. Just like you, it's just here. And there is an infinite supply of it. Remember, this universe is infinitely abundant. That means there is an infinite supply of all things in infinite variations and manifestations, both the good and the bad. What affects your experience is just a matter of what you are aware of at any given point in time. When you are thinking positive thoughts, it isn't that negativity has been vanquished for all eternity. It's just that in that particular moment in time, you happen to be positively focused. And every moment you spend noticing the bad stuff, of which there is an infinite supply, is a moment you don't get to enjoy the good stuff, of which there is an equally infinite supply. It's not wrong to pay attention to the bad stuff, and it's not necessary for you to do it either. Your emotions are live. If your focus shifts, if it slips into negativity, it doesn't have to mean that you are doing something wrong. Things change because nothing is permanent. Just because you were happy once and felt pure joy once at your 8th birthday party, for example, when you got that super awesome present from your favorite uncle, doesn't mean you are now happy for all time, forevermore, right? The same applies for spiritual awakening and enlightenment. There is this idea that once you are enlightened, you are now immune to things like evil and temptation and negativity. If that were true, then the only way to be enlightened would be to cease to be human, to cease to be what you are. And how much sense does that make? None in my book. Enlightenment is only possible because you are human. Think of enlightenment as a movement, as being in flow, flowing in a good feeling direction, a good feeling way. Being alive and free is a prerequisite to enlightenment. If you are to have the option of being enlightened, having the option of experiencing the darker aspects of your human nature is equally necessary. That doesn't mean you have to dwell in those darker aspects of yourself. All it means is that having an awareness of them is not a problem. On the contrary, it is part of what makes you whole. It's part of the balance of all things, the yin and the yang, the light and the shadow. When you are walking and moving around as you navigate the physical world, your balance shifts as you move along, right? Walking is simple to you now, but do you remember when you were learning to do it? Walking is actually a pretty amazing thing. The coordination and sense of balance required is pretty sophisticated. Compare the way a human being walks, or even the way an animal moves, to the way a mechanical robot moves. Even our best engineers have yet to create a humanoid machine that mimics human motion convincingly. When it comes to facial expressions, the uncanny valley is even steeper. Your physical sense of balance is infinitely sophisticated and is giving you live feedback so that you stay upright and don't end up sprawled all over the floor. When you feel off balance, you know how to move your body to correct the imbalance and stay upright as you walk around. You don't let the fact that you feel off balance offend or annoy you. It's useful feedback. Your sensitivity to negative thoughts is like that. Negative thoughts are useful feedback. You don't have to pay attention to them beyond that, even if they are old thoughts that feel persistent. They aren't special just because they are familiar and have been entertained by you many times before. Unwanted is unwanted. If it's not on your shopping list, move on. You are someone who knows what you want and where to get it. You are someone with direction. Act like it. The next time you notice that negative thought come up, instead of thinking, oh crap, that's the 9,999th time I've thought of that, I'm hopeless. Just go cool. I'm 9,999 steps closer to the day that thinking that particular thought just doesn't bother me. Or this, oh wow, it's been an entire week since I noticed myself getting annoyed by that thought. Or a whole month. Put distance between you and that thought and celebrate the distance. Have you ever had a cut on your finger that was super annoying, even if it obviously wasn't a life-threatening thing? A cut that really got on your nerves for a couple of days because every time you washed your hands or even when you weren't even doing anything, it just throbbed and got your attention? And then after a little while, a couple of days maybe, you suddenly realized that you had forgotten all about it. And you look at your finger and see that it has completely healed. And a faint scar is the only way you know you didn't imagine having the cut in the first place. Believe in that day, the day when you realize, hey, that thing that used to really bug me, not only does it not bug me anymore, not only do I not think that negative thought anymore, it's kind of funny to me now that I ever did. I remember who I was when I had those intrusive negative thoughts, and I actually don't hate her. I appreciate the person that I was. I appreciate what I went through to feel all of that. It's thanks to her that I was able to get to where I am now. She is a part of me. That's self-love. It's loving every part of yourself, even the silly part of you that hates yourself, the part of you that hates other people, the part of you that gets jealous and vents and gets depressed and feels shame and despair. You appreciate all of you, even those dark corners of your soul, because you are looking at yourself through the eyes of love. You are looking at yourself from the perspective of the light instead of from within the shadows. Where you stand now is what matters. Stand in the light. That way you see things from the perspective of your best self, your kindest, most loving self. 2, your manifestation is complete in the moment of conception. Yes, you can continue to mold it into being as you move through what we perceive of as time, as you move closer and closer to it in its fully manifested form, in other words. But it's actually more accurate to say that every stage of the manifestation is a fresh imagining of the original dream rather than a modification or alteration or edit of the initial idea, if that makes sense. That means that if you see no change, what's actually happening is that you are creating the same thing over and over again. And if you see change for the worse, it means you are creating something you don't like. That isn't a cause for blame or self-reprimand. It's an opportunity for you to refocus. Blame is just a negative spin on the awareness of being in control. It's thinking of yourself as being a terrible creator instead of knowing that you are a skilled and deliberate and masterful creator. So the next time you see something that is going quote unquote wrong, just think to yourself, hey, I did that. That's pretty funny. Silly me. That's an interesting outcome. And if I can attract that outcome, an outcome that is not to my liking, then I can just as easily attract another outcome, one that I consider more favorable. Of course I can, because I'm the one in control. Like I said earlier, just because the thought that your manifestation is screwed up crosses your mind doesn't mean you have to accept it as being true. A thought is just a thought. It's just a YouTube video in your recommended feed that the clueless algorithm is throwing at you, or some grapes at the market from a clueless fruit vendor. Grapes that are not on your grocery list today. No need to get annoyed or throw a fit. Just choose a different thought. Instead of thinking, oh, I guess my manifestation is screwed up now since I didn't get that promotion at work, or whatever it is you're using as your excuse to believe that your manifestation is screwed up, think something else. Like, so what? It isn't like that's my one and only chance to get promoted, for example. There are plenty more opportunities on the way. And in the meantime, I have plenty to feel pleased about. I have a great job that pays well. I've got fresh air to breathe in my lungs. And I have a fit and healthy body that serves me faithfully day and night. My life is awesome. And hey, that must mean that I am a fantastic deliberate creator. You are free to choose. It's just a matter of whether you actually go ahead and choose it. 3. I think I've actually covered number 3 already. Repetition doesn't hurt, so here goes. Thinking that you are doing something wrong does not mean that you are doing something wrong. All it means is that you are thinking that you are doing something wrong. I just covered the details of all of that in number 2, right? So if you would like a refresher, just go back and listen to number 2 as many times as you need. 4. Noticing your negative thoughts is your key to freedom. This is actually related to my earlier point that negative thoughts serve a useful purpose. They are not here to make your life difficult. They are there as options for you to consider. You can consider your options without choosing them, and just because you don't want them today doesn't mean you might not want them tomorrow. You never know. Sometimes you see things with fresh eyes. Have you ever discovered that you like a certain food that for the longest time you hated? People change. You are allowed to change. So that thing that used to break your heart, I don't know, maybe your ex dumped you at a Starbucks, and ever since, walking past that Starbucks or any Starbucks makes you feel terrible. But then enough time passes, and in some strange twist of fate, you meet a totally hot guy or girl, whatever, at, you guessed it, a Starbucks cafe, and you totally hit it off and fall head over heels for each other. And now, not only do you not feel sad when you walk past a Starbucks, you feel overjoyed by the mere recollection of that chance encounter with your true love. Long story short, noticing your negative thoughts just means you are aware. Awareness always leads to freedom. Always. Having persistent negative thoughts is only a habit if you are not aware of it. If you are not aware of it, then you are not aware of it, and it is what it is. No worries. If you are aware of it, the moment you notice it, it is no longer a habit, but a choice. It doesn't have to be a problem either. It's just an opportunity to make a fresh choice. Next time you catch yourself thinking a negative thought, instead of thinking, I have a bad habit of thinking negatively and I have got to stop it, realize that you have stopped it. You stopped it the moment you noticed it. Only you did it again the moment you told yourself you have a bad habit. You don't have to perpetuate the idea that it is a habit to think negatively just because a negative thought occurs to you, just because a negative thought crosses your mind. Negative thoughts are just recommendations from the algorithm, remember? From the Matrix. It's just an option from a sea of options. It's a thing of value for someone else. It's just not something that interests you in this moment in time. That's all it is. In any given moment in time, there are plenty of things for you to notice and delight in. Those things that you love and that are pleasing to you, are all of your own creation. They are things that you have attracted and manifested. It doesn't matter how silly or trivial it might seem. If it's something you are aware of feeling genuinely happy about, it's something you manifested, something you get to feel proud of for having created. It's evidence of your mastery of the spiritual laws. You did it because you are awesome. I don't care if it's the fact that you made your bed perfectly this morning, or if it's the fact that you just witnessed the most beautiful sunrise. If it pleases you in the moment, it's a moment you spent in bliss, and the truth of your bliss in that moment will remain for all eternity. Nothing will change that fact that you spent that moment in appreciation and joy. Every moment you spend is an opportunity for you to revel in the life you have created. All you have to do is notice it. Notice what pleases you, that is. If it has manifested, good, appreciate it. If it hasn't yet manifested, good, keep anticipating it. Appreciate the idea of it. If you notice unwanted outcomes, instead of thinking in terms of what went wrong, what am I doing wrong, think in terms of what is going right. What am I doing right? One last thing about right and wrong. There is no right or wrong. There is only what is right or wrong for you in the moment. Maybe you get terrible food poisoning after eating sprouts one time. That doesn't mean that eating sprouts is wrong. It just means that eating sprouts was wrong for you that one time. Even if you have an allergy to sprouts, it doesn't mean eating sprouts is wrong. It just means it is quote unquote wrong for you. There is no universal right or wrong. There's only what is right or wrong for you you in the moment, or more accurately, what is preferred or not by you in the moment. There is no wrong, there are no mistakes, and even if there were, you are a free being. You are free again in every moment. The moment you become aware that you fell into the trap of believing that you were not free for the umpteenth time, every time you become aware of your thoughts, you are free again. Your options are refreshed and you are that much closer to your next manifestation. When you are aligned with who you really are, which is your happiest, most empowered, most loving self, you can do no wrong. You are on your path of least resistance, no matter what course of action you take in the physical world. And all roads lead home. All paths lead to greater and greater peace and happiness because of who you are being in the moment, because of who you are. When you are happy, you are happy, and there is no reason, there is no logic behind it. You are happy because you are happy. Your happiness is unconditional. It doesn't make any sense. People might even tell you so, that you are a ridiculous person and you won't even care. In fact, you probably won't even notice because you are too busy having fun and enjoying yourself and the life you have created for yourself. Alignment is possible under any condition. You know it's possible because it's something you have felt before. You have felt happy before without any obvious reason to justify your feeling that way. It might have been a while since you have felt it, but it's not a feeling that is unfamiliar to you. The next time you feel that way, instead of telling yourself that it was random happenstance, affirm that you manifested that happy moment. Nurture your awareness of yourself as a deliberate and powerful manifester. You are someone who has the power to feel whatever emotion she chooses to feel, whether it's happy or something other than happy. You are powerful and free. You are deliberate and you are living the best days of your life. Today is the best day of your life, and tomorrow and the one after that. Every day can be wonderful. It's just a matter of who you are on any given day. That is it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. And as always, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy my content. Have a wonderful day and see you again soon. Bye.